Hey guys, so today we are going to create a simple connect the dots true art piece. Something that I learned from my friend over at Let's Be Real with Rachel. So we're just going to simply draw a line across our canvas. You can make it straight, you can kind of curve it a little bit, make it squiggly, however you want to do it. And then you're going to draw some dots on there. Leaving them spaced out, you can put some closer together, some further apart, whatever you choose to do. And then we're just going to simply start connecting the dots. We can do it a little circular, which I'm creating right here. You can do some oblong, you can do different shapes, be creative, whatever you want to do. I am just going to continue sketching this out with a pencil first before I jump into burning, just to get a basic line or two done. Then I'll jump into the burning part. So just going back and forth and continuously connecting the dots, drawing the same shape over and over and over again, creating from one dot to the next. Some will be bigger, some will be smaller. It will eventually give it more of a kind of 3D'd effect in the end. It really truly ends up being a kind of a really cool art piece. Very simple to do. So again, I got one line done. Now I'm just going back and I'm drawing the line from one corner of the piece of wood to another, going right through some of those dots that connected right in the middle, and then connecting the dots again. So we're just going to repeat this process over and over. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to start burning it as I'm going, so that I don't have to draw out the whole piece and then go back into burn, because that could get a little bit confusing as you're trying to overlap these different layers upon layers as you go. We are going to continue this throughout the entire piece, and it truly does end up looking really cool. You can go back in, which I did not do in this piece, but you can go back in and you can add some shading. You can create some checkerboard effects where the lines overlap. You can add some color for a pop if you'd like. Be creative in however you really want to deal with this. I'm just showing you the basis of it and kind of going right through the line work, just to give you the effect of how simple something like connecting the dots can be, but what a creative piece you can make out of it. So again, just going back and forth, creating some more lines, putting in some more dots. You can see how some of mine are more elongated and then some are shorter, because I spaced the dots out differently as I started to go along. As I got towards the edge of the wood, I moved some of my dots a little bit closer together, so that when I was connecting them, of course, they're creating smaller circles. And then as I got to the middle, I spaced them out a little further apart to create more of an oblong effect. I wasn't really sure how this was going to come out in the end. Again, just being creative, just really going with it and seeing how it turns out in the end. Now, this piece of wood that I'm working on is just a scrap piece of wood. I did not sand it down first. I didn't, get into any really great finishes. I was just truly trying to turn a piece of scrap into a work of art and just show you guys how easy that could be by simply connecting the dots. It really, really comes out pretty unique and pretty cool. So going back and forth throughout this piece, make sure you always spin the wood around so that it's pretty easy to get at all the angles that you want. You will start to see as I'm overlapping through the dot area, it starts to really give it depth and starts to create that dimension to it. I have my burner set at about 4.5 in the beginning, and then towards the end I decided that I was going to turn it up to about a 5.5, so that I could create a little darker of a burn, again, just to give it a little more dimension in there. I'm using the universal tip, as you can see, and there's times where I'm kind of laying it turning it towards its side slightly just to give it a little bit of a thicker line, and then sometimes I'm standing it straight up and down to give it a little bit of a thinner line, just creating a little more dimension throughout the piece to you know, make some of it stand out apart from the rest. So again, I'm sorry, I keep moving my own hand out of my way, I guess, and you can't really quite see every little thing that I'm doing as I'm working, but I will try to be sure to move the wood around so that you guys have a much better angle and a better line of sight to see what I'm doing in here. So going back over and really just creating more and more lines, overlapping more and more, darkening up some pieces. You can see you start from that dot and you just go around to connect it to the other one, to the bottom. When I get towards the edge of the wood, there's no dot there, so I'm just kind of bringing it down as if it's running off of the piece of wood, or as if it's connecting to a dot that may have been there. So continue drawing the lines, continue putting your dots wherever you want, continue connecting the dots. And you can see as the wood is really taking shape here, as I'm going over it more and more and taking up all of the empty, negative, blank space that was in here, trying to make sure that I have all of that overlapping in lines to create this one-of-a-kind, unique kind of piece. So here you go, guys. Here is a scrap piece of wood turned into a piece